Cool. And now, how we imported the files. We talked about the interface, about the buttons, how to browse in Unreal Engine, how we can bring the files from 3ds Max, for example, to here inside Unreal. It's very simple. You're gonna access your content area, clicking here, or window, content browser, or you can press Control plus space. Okay, you can go both ways. Right button, import to game. Okay, you have a lot of tools here. You can add some things. You can add some Quixel stuff. You can do a lot of things here. Animation. Okay, but meanwhile, for now, let's just import to game. Right button. Let's find the piano house here. FBX, import the files from this folder here. We segment then, okay? So let's import each piece. This one, let's go. We have this box here. We have, for example, our model. Is there an animation? If there is any animation, say the 3ds Max is gonna mark this option here. But in our case, we don't have any character with skeleton, so it didn't understand this parameter. Manage, build manage. As we talked in the other class, the 3ds Max class, remember we talked about it, about the optimization, about the polygons and everything. Here's the place where we do. This is one of the places. Now, we're not gonna talk about Manage now, okay? We're gonna talk about it in the class of optimization, all right? In case you already know Unreal Engine, you can go to the model of optimization. But for now, we're not gonna activate this, okay? We're gonna bring the object heavy, okay? Don't worry about it. After we're gonna talk about Manage. This option here, it's gonna add automatically, but it's not interesting to leave it marked. Because this parameter inside the Unreal Engine, we have, besides the materials, textures, blocks, we also have the collisions. What is that? Collision is an element that you put in the geometry, for example, so that you will not be able to go through walls. For example, let's suppose you're playing in a game. You are with your character, you go and you lean on the wall and you cannot go through. So this is a collision. This collision can be in the geometry or it can be a block of collision. If you activate this parameter, it's gonna add the collision in the geometry, but it doesn't always add this block of collision in an optimized way. So it's better if we put these blocks of collision in an individual form and make it exclusive to each model. There are models that if you use automatically features are gonna work well, but there are models that if you do that, if you use automatic features, it's not gonna work good, okay? It's a farm to work in an optimized way, so we don't wanna generate collisions yet. We're gonna do that another time in the course. Other things that we have to activate and pay attention is here. We have some other options here, okay? By default, it's like this, but let's disable this one, okay? Because here in the course for now, we are learning Unreal Engine 5 with the lighting technique of the type looming. For looming, there is no need to store the information in the channel 2, using, for example, a technology that we call build. That is a light processing system that we call build. We don't need to store the light in the channel 2 of the geometry. Why? Because all kinds of lighting that we're gonna learn here in the course is dynamic, okay? There is no build, render, or processing. Everything is dynamic, okay? Everything in a real time. In case in our project, in our strategy of creation, you think it's interesting to use the build to process the light. Well, you have the option here to to generate this in an automatically way, but it's not interesting because it's not effective enough. It's better there in the software of modeling that you open the channel to, generate the light map, and after you bring to Unreal. By default, I advise you to leave it like this, not activate it, okay? Specifically in this course, we're not gonna need to generate the light maps, okay? The light channels. We're not gonna need this because we're gonna use Looming, okay? And Looming doesn't need to store the information of lighting in the channel 2 of our model. It doesn't need to generate the light map. So leave it like this. This one, leave it like this. This one as well. We're not gonna combine in the meshes, okay? It's gonna be separate meshes, wall 1, wall 2, wall 3, okay? And if I mark this button here, for example, we have 5 walls there. If you mark here, it's gonna transform all the 5 walls in one, okay? And we don't want that, so leave it like this. The others, you can leave it like this. You don't need to change anything, but pay attention. Don't mark Midnight for a while, okay? Verify if not marked here. We don't want collisions, and we don't want to generate the light maps, okay? And that's it. Great. It already brought here the elements for us. Look at this. It brought the geometries, the textures, because we remember to mark the embed media during the exportation of FBX, and brought the materials here, okay, because they are in standard. Inside the 3ds Max, it understands the materials of the type standard. Well, now we can separate the project. Inside Unreal, it's really interesting if we work in an organized way, okay? Separate the project in folders, like a folder for geometry, a folder for material, another one for textures, okay? It's always good to work in an organized way. Let's do it. Right button, create a new folder, for example. Let's call it Piano House. Yeah, this is our folder, our main folder. Oh, we cannot have these different characters. So let's put the underline, okay? So our project will be inside here, Piano House. Look, Piano House. Let's create a folder and let's call it Geometry. Okay, we're gonna put the geometries here, okay, inside. Let's get back to the content. We have the geometries. These are the geometries here. Static mesh. Remember that we call it static mesh. Look how interesting this is. We call it SM. And Unreal understands that it is a static mesh. Look, the name here I have SM underlined in the rest of the name here. So Unreal already understood it is a geometry, okay? It is a mesh. In this case here, a texture, it understands it is a texture. Okay, 055 underline 2 texture. It understood that it is a texture. So let's separate the geometries. Let's put inside the folder geometries. Click, hold and drag it, okay? It asks move here, copy, okay? Or we can create a copy. We want to move, all right? Because we want to grab here and move it here. Okay, it has moved. For items, okay. Inside geometries I have here. Okay, great. Let's get back here. Inside this folder, we can create another one to put the textures. Let's see. Let's take the texture and drag it, move it to the folder. And let's create another folder called materials. Same thing. Select everything here and move it here. Materials. Great. Yeah, it has moved. Cool, let's access piano here, geometries, materials, and textures. Yeah, cool. Inside geometries, let's separate uh, the folders that we created. Look, this first group of geometries, we can call it ceiling. Let's move the objects inside here. All right, cool. Let's import more objects. Besides the ceiling, let's import the others. Same thing, verify it's not marked this, and this one. Okay, import. You're gonna realize that it's gonna get easier and to import because Unreal is going to understand the parameters that we put and it's gonna keep it, okay? For now, don't worry about these informations here, okay? They are just some warnings, okay? But don't worry about it. Let's keep going. We close the content, Control plus space, or window, content browser in here, okay? Piano house, geometries. Let's create a folder and let's call it deco. Yeah, and let's take the objects there. And I'm gonna move it here or here, okay? Yeah, they were moved. The materials, let's move them. Probably I'll have materials with these names there in materials. So if we have them, we're going to rename them, okay? Okay, move. Cool. We didn't have any with that names. Now the textures, select, drag, okay. Perfect. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's see. Now we can import the floor. Yeah. Same thing. Okay. Yeah, import all. Okay. Right button, new folder, floor. Perfect. Select here and move here or move there. Okay. Texture, same thing. I think we have here. Yeah, we already have a texture with this name. So let's rename it. Okay, for now. Underline B. Okay, after we can delete it. All right, move here. These other ones, move here. Same thing. Let's rename it. Underline B. Let's take there. The materials, same thing. Materials, move here. Let's see if it's gonna find a material with this name. It's really good that if we import the files in this way, like in a segment way. This way we're gonna avoid that Unreal closes, alright, or crash because of a heavy file or a file that cannot be loaded, okay? For now, these three folders were loaded, so theoretically, these three type of assets, we didn't find any problem, okay? And that didn't make Unreal close, okay, or crash. So if I'm gonna correct some problem, I know that inside then it's okay, there's no problem. So let's import new objects. Frames. Okay, import all. Okay, there's no problem, don't worry about it. We have some warnings here, but it's okay, don't worry about it. Let's create a folder here. Okay, frame, static mesh. Let's move it here. Okay, we don't have textures here, so let's put in materials. Okay, rename it. Let's put a B here. After we can delete the materials that were duplicated. For now, let's just bring and separate by folders. Okay, let's import more. Import the furnitures. I think it's a little more heavy here, these ones. Here, we already know that we have this one there, so let's rename it. Let's see. Textures, and the other ones to materials. Rename it. Let's take it here. Materials, move here. Perfect. Next, objects, group of objects. Let's see. Lamp. Import all. Okay, the warnings, we don't need to worry about them. Okay, it's compiling the shaders. Perfect. Yeah, it's done. Okay. Look, we have a lot of lamps here. Geometries, new folders, move here. We're gonna change the name, don't worry. Right button, rename it, or geometries. Right button, rename it. Yeah, that's it. Let's save the textures. Texture and the materials. All right. Probably we'll have materials with the same name. Let's see. Oh, looky, we don't have it. Oh, it's okay. So let's import now the walls. This one is very heavy. That is the layer where we had those wooden slats on the wall. Remember? So it's gonna take a longer time because we have a lot of geometries here. This is the moment where maybe Unreal can crash, okay? Because maybe there are a lot of heavy elements inside here, okay? All right, because the heavy elements and that are being imported here. If Unreal crashes, you can try it again, okay? In case it doesn't work, we already know that inside these files there's something really heavy. In that case, you will have to go back to Max and you try to identify which is this thing, and then you put with a less amount of geometries, segments, you know. So maybe you can add a pro optimized, that is a modifier of 3ds Max that helps to optimize the geometries to decrease the polygon counts. Okay, maybe it's a good idea in case you have this problem. Okay, talking about 3ds Max, you try to identify the geometry that is heavy. Okay, if I identify the geometry, or I delete it, or I replace it, or I optimize this. Okay, if we're going to delete it, okay, if we're going to replace it, you can replace with a better model with a less polygon count. If we're gonna optimize it, use, for example, the Pro Optimizer of 3ds Max. That is a free optimizer. It decreases the amount of polygon count. It optimizes the mesh, okay? And probably you will be able to import, okay? Cool. It's here. Same thing. Let's create a folder. Let's call it like this. What was the name that we gave there? Oh, wall. So let's call it wall. So it's gonna be with the same name. Otherwise, you can get lost. Yeah. Let me put the geometries there. Aesthetic meshes. Texture. But probably it's gonna duplicate this. Let's change the name. Texture. Texture here. Oops. Let's rename it. Materials. Let's see if I have a name here like this. I have some textures else to send there. Okay, cool. Texture. Move here. And materials. These two probably are gonna ask to change the name. Let's see. Yeah. So let's call them wall. Actually, this one wall. C. And this one would C. Let's see. Cool. We brought everything and now it's separated inside this folder, all with content, piano house, and these three folders. Okay, materials, textures. Okay, cool. Let's now start to distribute in the scene this object. Don't worry about the terrain now, about these things now. We're gonna repeat the process or maybe create in another place. But for now, we're learning how to import the files in an organized way, okay, and distribute in the scene. Let's get started for the floor. Let's select the static meshes, click and drag it, okay. I can put anywhere here. All right, let me put it here. Look at this. Let's press F. It's like the zooming, the F, okay? But it's kind of weird. It's inside the topography. This topography isn't helping. That's not cool. It's not helping. Let's delete this topography. Look, these landscapes here, the geometries of the landscape, I can select everyone here and I can just delete it. All right, with the delete. Look at this, it has disappeared. We just have now the floor of the house. Okay, nice. So the floor is here, the pivot there. But important thing and interesting is if we put these objects in the zero of the word. Remember there in the 3ds Max in the pivot class that we adjusted the pivot and we took the objects to the zero of the word in the Max. So this is the moment why that is important. I mean, to adjust the pivot. Well, because for example, we brought these objects here in the scene, okay? Look, they are here, static mesh floor. All right, these objects here. Look, they are here. Don't worry about they being here, okay? Because after we can change them to other places, or we can select them and drag them to the other folders, okay? Let's put it in the lighting folder, yeah. We can actually click with the right button, move, create a new folder. Let's call it geometries. Yeah, great. Let's put it here. Yeah, that's it. Now we have here a folder geometry and another folder lighting. Inside geometry, I have the geometries. Perfect. Let's see. Okay, I have these elements, perfect, but I don't know if they are in the zero of the word or somewhere else. So let's put here 0, 0, 0. Okay, it has disappeared. So where is it? Oh, look, this is here. So that means that inside Unreal, the zero of the word is there. Okay, 0, 0, 0. Let's press F so that we can zoom in. So the zero of the word inside Unreal is here. Okay, let's change this position and let's go there. Look at this. We took it there. All right, it's not in the zero of the word anymore. The pivots now are in different places, okay, and hard to fix it. How could you do the scene like not knowing the correct position and everything? Well, it's easy because we're basing on the pivot of the max, okay, taking as a reference the zero of the word. Okay, for example, if I put 0, 0, 0, it's go here, zero of the word. Same thing here, 0, 0, 0. Same thing. Same thing here, 0, 0, 0. Same thing, 0, 0, 0 in the location. 0, 0, 0. In the location 0, 0, 0. In the location 0. Okay, that's it. As it was made in Max, respecting the zero of the word, it goes to the correct position in Unreal. Okay, it goes to the position that it was made. Okay, and it's very simple now. It makes the job way much easier for us. Let's bring other geometries. Let's bring the walls. Yeah, the wall. Let's select all of them and let's drag it here. Okay, I can put it here, for example. How can I know the exactly position uh, that was in my 3ds Max? It's really hard. It's not possible to put in the same position unless that I took the reference as the zero of the word in 3ds Max. So I select everything and I put 0, 0, 0. Here is the position, the exact position that was in 3ds Max. Okay, so it's really cool. So zero of the word. Let's take to the folder geometries. Static mesh, look how easy is to find this. Okay, let's take it there. Geometries. Okay, everything's here. So we are working in an organized way. Let's select the geometries. So we select the geometries and now when we drag it, it's gonna go to geometries. After that, let's put the frames. Frame. Select this here and let's drag it here. Let's take it to Unreal. Where can I put the position, the correct position? It's here, it's here. Maybe here. Let's, if everyone is selected, just put it here, 0, 0, 0. That's it. Really simple. Exact in the same position that it should be. Okay? Okay. So, nice. Let's go ahead. Next object that we can add. Let's see. The ceiling. Yeah, let's add the ceilings. Let's put it here. 0 of the word. Cool. Yeah, we added it. Yeah, our house is being built. Okay. Cool. Perfect. All right. So next item that we can add the lamp. Let's select the first one until the last one. Let's take to Unreal. Look, they are here. Await the processing. Put the 0 of the word. Okay, if we're gonna verify, they are in the exact position that it should be. Look, because it is respecting the 0 of the world that we're creating in 3ds Max. We can delete some the box, the sphere, and the cylinder. Okay, very cool. Let's bring now the furnitures. Let's see. Basically, the furnitures that are fixed. Select the one, select the first one, the last one, drag it to Unreal, to the scene, 0 of the world. Yeah, cool. Yeah, let's see, where are the fixed furnitures? Let's remove the ceilings. Click on it, press 8. Okay, press 8. Or right button, visibility. Okay, and hide. All right. Look, so we have here our furnitures, fixed furnitures that we just brought here. Okay, all of these. The wardrobes. The closet here. Look, very cool, right? So what else can we bring here? Let's see the decoration. We have some lamps here, some lighting. Look, we have some objects of decoration here that I think maybe we can put after. We don't have the sink here. Let's see. Maybe it is in a 3ds Max. We have some other things here. Let's see if we have something else to import. X. Cool. We are importing. That means that now basically we just have the furnitures, the heavy furnitures left, like the piano, the armchair, carpet, bath tube. So we have those furnitures. Okay, but I think I'm gonna finish this class here, so it's not gonna be too long, and we can keep going the next class. All right, the part 2 of importation. But before this, how can I see the ceiling again? So right button, visibility, show. Okay, all actors. Or you can press Ctrl+H. Look, like this. Ctrl+8, I see everything, and 8, I hide this. Okay. Ctrl+8, I see everything. All right. So we can go file and we can save all. All right, when we click on save all, it's literally saving everything here. Like the materials that we brought, the assets that we brought, the textures that we brought, geometries. All right. And it was to save also the level that we are working. Which is the level? This one here. This one that we are working. This whole project is a level. Even if we have a lot of rooms, we can, for example, create a level for the room, another level for the bathroom, but we didn't do that. Okay, we brought everything for a level, and it's okay, it's fine. So file, save. I'm gonna save all and everything, and actually the level as well. Save level as. Where I want to save the level? In a folder with right button and create a new folder that I'm going to call level. Inside this folder, I'll have this level here. Okay, that is my main level. So I'm going to call it piano house underline, okay, underline main level. So yeah, that's it, main level, save it. Great. It is saving the map, the assets, textures, everything, everybody. If, for example, I want to create more levels, let's suppose I want to put some trees or vegetation here, grass and things like that. So I can create a new level, put a name on it, and then I'll have a level of the main house and another level, okay? So if I'm gonna work on the main level, I'm only stay in the main level. If I'm gonna work on the other level, I open the other level and I can see the vegetation, the other things. It's like a layer of levels, okay? So I hope to prepare the meshes, compile everything. It's gonna take a little time, and then we're gonna finish it after we're gonna save it, okay? And then we can finish this class. So let's wait a little bit. Okay, cool. Let's verify, save all. Okay, everything's saved. I'm gonna finish this class and we're gonna see each other in the next class where we're gonna keep going, keep importing files and see more about Unreal Engine 5. Great. What is missing now here to import is the rest of the furnitures. Okay, for example, the piano, the armchair, the sink. However, I believe we didn't export from 3ds Max. So if you look the furnitures here that we imported, they are not here. So probably we didn't export the FBX. To do that, let's get back there, 3D Studio Max, and then we can verify if the furnitures are here. Look, they are here. Control plus Z, but they weren't exported. So let me close the other layers, and I'm gonna keep just the layers of the furnitures. That's why it's good to work in an organized way, because it's easy to find the objects. Unhide all. This mob is here. We need to export them to Unreal. I'm gonna hide the others. Select this 1 million polygons. File export. All right. Let's send to the folder furnitures. Let's see. Piano house. FBX. I'm gonna create here a folder called furnitures 02. Because what I'm going to do, well, I'm gonna save it and I'm gonna zip this folder and I'm going to upload on Drive. And I'll leave a link below this class so that you can download this FBX and then you will have a complement your FBX. Okay, that way we're gonna have the same FBX, the same files. Or if you already download the file 3ds Max, you just can hide the others. All right, you can hide the layers and you can export the furnitures. Okay, or you can click on the link below and you can download this FBX. Okay, it's marked. All right, okay, great. So now we're gonna go into furnitures, import piano house FBX. Look at this, we created, let's create a folder called furnitures underline 02. Let's move it there so that it's gonna organize. It's gonna be organized. Now we're gonna have the furnitures 02. Okay. And let's import the furnitures. Same thing here. We don't want this, this and this. Okay, we don't want that. Just import all. But remember, I'm gonna leave the link here so that you can download this folder of furnitures. Okay, so that you will have a complement to your folders, so that they will be like mine. Okay, then you will have these things here. Okay, all of these, ceiling, floor, and all of this. Just you can download. Okay, great, we finished. Okay, again, we have here the furnitures, okay, the assets, materials, and textures. We are already in the folder furnitures, so now we have to send to the other folders, for example, the materials, like this. Let's send the others, materials. Don't worry about these materials, okay? All of them are going to be deleted. Okay, we're gonna replace for a master material, and we'll make instances of these master material. Okay, so don't worry about the other materials here. Probably they will be deleted. Okay, great. We have these. This probably that's gonna duplicate because I think we already have with these same names. Okay, but let's see this. Okay, this materials. Yeah, we have to rename this because we already have this name there. Let's put like this. Yeah, material, move here. Same thing with the texture. Let's call it F. Okay, let's see. These two here, I'm gonna rename it. Okay, and this one, let's rename it. Let me see if I can move it here. Yeah, cool. We have these two here. Move here. Okay, and these two materials here. If you're not careful, you can get disorganized. So it's really important if you work in an organized way. Okay, so that you will not get lost. All right, cool. Now we have the furnitures. But look how interesting this is. We have these furnitures, new furnitures, with this asterisk here. That means F asterisk. That means that these objects, they weren't saved. Okay, you have new files here that weren't saved, so you need to save them. Same thing for the materials, new materials that we brought. Okay, there are materials and furnitures that weren't saved. You can just go here, file, save all. Okay, and that's gonna save the objects that weren't saved. So okay, and all the others that were saved is not gonna consider. Okay, and that's gonna save all the objects that were modified. All right, let's see. Cool. These furnitures we added in. Basically now we just have this new furnitures that we brought. Okay, that we can just drag them here, and we can put the 0 of the word. Look, so they go in the exact position where they were in the 3D S Max. Okay, right? Let's see. Or you can delete them and you can add them in an individual way. Okay, for example, look at this. Let's take this one. What is this? Okay, look at this. Let's press click here 8. All right, and let's put the bathtub here. It's more or less here. After we can take the images, the references, okay, so that we can position the objects in a better way. But let's already position some objects so that we can get more free time. Look at this. We can just click and drag it. Look the benefits of the pivot. As we considered the pivot in the 0 of the word, I can move my object with the pivot exact in the position that I need. Let's learn a new way in Unreal Engine, that is Alt. If you want to create a copy of an object in the 3D Studio Max, you press Shift and you drag the object, then you create the copy. In Unreal, it's not like that. Shift and move. You can move the camera, okay, based on the object. It's like you're moving the camera with the object. To copy an object inside the Unreal Engine is Alt plus Move, okay? Cool. We created these two here. Okay, two sinks. What else? This sink here. I think the position's more or less like this. However, in this rotation, turn on the snap. Okay, let's put 10 degrees. We turned on the snap. 10, like this. Yeah, cool. Let's see this table here. I think it's more or less here. It's more or less here. This one. The piano, I think it's here. We can move it. We adjusted. We're gonna adjust this after. Piano bench is here. Let's see, the couch of the two places like here, I guess. Look, I'm moving. I'm helping with the W, S, D, alright, of the keyboard. The vase, I think it's here. Look, if I hold Alt and drag it, I can make a copy. And if I press Control, I select more than one, alright? If I hold Alt and drag it, I can create a copy. If I press Control, I can select more than one object, as in 3ds Max, okay? This armchair, I think it's more or less here, okay? After we're gonna see the photos, the references, and then we can get it right, okay, in the correct positions. And then we're gonna start aligning our project. Okay, let's see what we have. This here, more or less like this. Let's see, like this, like here. The table, it's more like here. The piano is like here. After, we're gonna get back here. What else? We have the chairs. We can put one chair here, and after we can copy. Let's see the position. I'm using WS, to move. All right. So look at this. Let's create the copies. Hold Alt and drag it. Okay. Oops, it's very fast, this camera, so we just decrease it. Alt and drag it. Alt and drag it. Okay. A little like this, more close. Cool. Let's select everyone. Alt, and let's rotate. Okay, it also creates copies based on the rotation here. Okay, let's see. Perfect. After we vary and do the lining and other things, okay. What else? Two armchairs, I think. I think they are like here, and this other one is more or less here. Let me put it here and this one here. Cool, our project is taking shape. Let me see the furnitures. I think that we finished this. Let's see. Let's increase the speed. Look, cool, great. Yeah. So let's finish this class here. Control plus 8. I get back this ceiling. All right, I click on it, 8, 8, and I want to show the ceiling again. Control plus 8. All right. It's like the unhide all in the 3D Studio Max. Okay. Look, we can finish this class here. A lot of objects are in the scene, and also we have these objects here that are the frames, the glasses, the doors, the sliding doors, okay, pivoting doors, okay. After we're gonna adjust the position. All right, I'm gonna finish this class now, and then we're gonna finish talking about the importation, okay, importation of the files, and then we're gonna keep going the next class. Let's do a quick review here. After you finished after 3ds Max, you're gonna import the files, and remember, you have to mark some options and others you cannot, and it's very important to work in an organized way, okay, in the content area. Basically, we created a folder for our main project, geometries, materials, and textures, okay. Here we're gonna see the static meshes that we separated by types, like wall, furnitures, frames, okay. Here I have the level, like the level of my game, okay. My architecture project, the materials that in some moments we need to rename them because we have more than one material in the same folder with the same name, and the texture folder, okay, that we're gonna adjust, correct, organize, rename, okay. So we're gonna see this a lot during the course, okay. For now, that's it. I'm gonna finish this class and we're gonna get back in the next class where we're gonna talk a little bit about outliner, okay, and also about actors, okay, mainly about lining actors. See you. Hi, how are you? Welcome to another class of Unreal Engine 5. I would like to show you in this class other ways to correct some elements that we corrected in 3D Studio Max. For example, do you remember that by using 3D Studio Max, we corrected the mapping in 1 meter for 1 meter for 1 meter. We corrected the pivot. We aligned the pivot in the center of the object, and we also learned how to invert the normal of the object. But if in case you don't use 3ds Max, if you use the SketchUp, Blender, Maya, if it's possible, it's really cool that you apply the concepts that we saw in the 3D Studio Max class to the software that you're using, okay? But if, for example, some features are not available on the softwares that you're using, like Blender, Maya, SketchUp, for example, there's the possibility of adjusting some things directly on Unreal. So we will learn how to adjust 3 things directly on Unreal Engine. One of the things is to adjust the pivot, the position of the pivot, and the mapping 1 for 1 for 1, and invert the normal, okay? Nice. So let's get started with the more simple, that is adjust the mapping in 1 for 1 for 1. I already applied here a modifier, UVW map, okay, to let the texture out of proportion. So you can see that it's measuring 6 meters here, 40 centimeters, and 2.5 meters in the vertical. Okay, so the texture is out of proportion. If I take out the UVW map, it looks like it's in the proportion, and it's not cool. So let's leave it out of the proportion. Okay, I'm gonna convert to polygon because it's gonna exit the modifier UVW map. It's already applied here, but it's not to show here. Okay, let's suppose in your software that you're using this wall here that you're modeling, you want to apply a mapping 1 for 1 for 1. Remember that it's not only for the wall. You can repeat this process, for example, for armchairs, and you can transform this into mapping 1 for 1 for 1, or for any other object. Okay, we're gonna use the wall as an example because I think it's easier. Okay, I'm gonna export this. Look, for our project. All right, here I'm gonna export here FBX. I'm gonna create a folder here called mapping, UV mapping. All right, and I'm gonna save this here, wall UV. Okay, I exported in FBX, and you can also have the possibility to export in FBX in the software that you're using. I'm gonna import here. We already learned how to import the models. FBX, UV mapping, wall. We don't want the night. All right, let's see. Let's just import. Nice. Let's take to the scene. All right, here is our wall. As you can see, the mapping, it's out of proportion, okay? So it's not configured in 1 for 1 for 1, as we saw in 3ds Max. That is cool to come to Unreal, the mapping 1 for 1 for 1. But for example, if you don't have the Studio Max in your computer, or in the tool that you're used to use, also there is not this feature in like mapping 1 for 1 for 1. We can do it inside Unreal. We can adjust the mapping at UV, okay, here. So basically here, click here, modeling, okay. We have access to some tools of modeling inside Unreal Engine 5. Obviously, in this moment, it's not that great. We don't have all the resources like in 3ds Max or in the software that you're used to work, but there are some features that are really useful. For example, to correct the UV. Let's go UV here, project. Here, you can realize that it has corrected a little bit the mapping, but we can adjust a little more. For example, what's the type, the projection type you can choose? You see this? Cylinder, you know, it transforms into a cylinder, as in Studio Max, for example, or this one. In our case, we want the projection type of the type box, okay, and we can adjust the dimensions. By default is this, all right, the 25. It recognizes the dimension of the geometry. We can enlarge, all right. We can change this here, 25 it was. Here we can adjust, okay, or 100. And the height we can put like this. So the value that is cool for us, for walls, for example, or mapping, it's like 1 for 1 for 1, okay? As we are working centimeters, 100 for 100 for 100 centimeters, okay? This way, the mapping of your channel UV now is 1 for 1 for 1. That's really good, mainly when you're going to work with walls inside Unreal Engine. Okay, nice. And you just click here, accept. All right. Yeah, so our model now is mapped in 1 for 1 for 1. And it's not only the model in the scene, but also the model here in the content. It adjusts in the original model. Okay, so every time you add this object to the scene, it's gonna be considering the mapping that you corrected. Nice. Um, all right, besides the mapping UV that we can correct on Unreal Engine, we can also adjust the pivot, okay? Two ways. Let's see. I'm gonna bring here the chair. We saw in 3ds Max that mainly furnitures, it's interesting to take the model aligned in the 0 of the world, okay? I'm gonna press G here to isolate this. Our chair, it's aligned here in the center of the world. I'm going to put it here. All right, it's not in the center of the world anymore. Let's export in FBX, okay? Let's create a folder here. All right, let's see. I'm going to delete these elements. And I'm going to call it chair. Let's import. I think there is one element here. Okay, I deleted this. Import. Let's see. FBX. All right, let's see the chair. Everything's okay here. Nice. And let's click and drag to the scene. As we saw, the pivot is out of the correct position, and that's bad, okay? Because if you're gonna rotate or position your object in some place, some specific place, because the pivot is out of the center, mainly for the furnitures. How can we correct this inside Unreal Engine? Well, let me delete this here again. One of the ways is when we import. For example, you can import your chair, and you can uncheck this option here, transform vertex to absolute, okay? And import this. Nice. And put in the scene. Look at this. It didn't consider the position where the pivot came of the 0 of the word. It considered the position of the pivot here in this position. But what does this consider to bring the pivot here? Well, possibly during the modeling of this armchair on the software where it was modeled, the pivot or the model was built from this position here. So Unreal Engine understands the position where the model was built. Maybe it was built this element after this, and then it was attached to the other, and it considered this position here. Okay, this is one of the ways to zero the position of the pivot inside Unreal Engine, but you can see that it's not very efficient, because in this case of this module specifically, that during the modeling, Unreal understood that the pivot of this, it was from here, from this position, it came to the scene in the wrong way. And every time I'll have to adjust the position. So that's not really efficient, okay? Another way to correct this inside Unreal Engine, I'm gonna remove here. Let's see, let's delete this. Let's import again. And let's check this option just to test. If you uncheck this, the pivot comes to the center of the object, however, based on the modeling. So for now, I'm gonna check this, all right? So the pivot is gonna be exactly the position where it came from the 3ds Max, okay? Let's export this again, okay? All right, file. Let's save it here. Yeah. That's it. And import, okay? Look, I'm gonna leave it checked, so it's gonna consider the position that is coming from Max. and import. Okay, it came here. Let's put in the scene. Look at this. The pivot is there. That's not cool, right? All right, then, so how can I adjust the pivot here on Unreal Engine? Same thing. Let's go in modeling. Okay, the options here. And let's go, let's see. Here, transform, pivot. Look at this. By clicking on pivot, we can align the pivot in some positions or manually. Okay, we can do it. We can put the pivot where we want. For example, here, you know, close to the object, or here, or I can click on center and the pivot is going to center. Bottom, okay, it goes here. What is really nice? Top, left, right, back, front, you know? So in this module, we want to align this bottom, okay? And accept this. Yeah, nice, it's ready. The pivot of our model came from that wrong position and now it's aligned in the center of the object. All right. Every furniture, armchair, all of this is going to come with the pivot aligned here. Okay, the center of the object in bottom is going to align here on this part, okay, of our model, and that's really nice. If you don't have these resources on your software, you can adjust the pivot here inside Unreal Engine. Now let's talk about how to flip the normal, how to invert, how to flip the normal. Maybe in the software that you're used to use, mainly on some modelings of SketchUp, when you bring this model inside Unreal Engine, the normal comes flipped, like inverted. What's that? Well, look, I'm gonna show it to you. Select this, and I'm gonna flip the seat, okay? Look at this. The normal of the seat. What is that? Well, it means that this part of the surface of my model is inverted. It's flipped. So instead of seeing my model here, it's like I'm seeing my model, the surface of this model here, this side. So it's inverted, okay? I'm gonna export the model. I'm gonna call this flipped. And I'm gonna save it. Nice. I'm going to import. Okay. Import. Take to the scene. Look at this. You can see that we don't see the seat here because it's flipped. And besides flipped, the pivot is in the wrong position. We already learned how to correct the pivot. It's very simple. All right, pivot, bottom, accept. We correct the pivot. Now we're going to correct the normal that is flipped. Look at this. I see this here. Okay, I see it flipped. How we can correct this? Well, we select the object here, this one. I click on this element here. So I have these options and I can choose, for example, some selection modes, for example, brush. I can select specific faces of my model. I can change, for example, this one, or this one, or all in group. Okay, I can select, for example, elements, specific elements of my model. Okay. Do you agree that this element is with the face correct? The normal is not inverted. The only normal that is inverted is the normal of the seat. So I select this and I click flip normal. Yeah, that's it. The normal was corrected. Do you want to flip the normal? You click here. Look, the normal now is flipped. So click here, flip normal. Okay? Flip normals. Click on the element, flip normals. All right? I'm going to close it here. Don't forget to accept. Yeah, that's it. Our model was corrected and the normal was corrected. Not only in the scene, as in the main model, okay? Every time you put in the scene, the normal is going to be corrected and the pivot is going to be corrected. And if you need to adjust the mapping, the UV, the mapping is going to be corrected, okay? I hope you liked this class, these tips. And in this class, we saw how to correct the pivot, correct the mapping, the UV, and how to flip the normal. So if you are following the course with some personal project in parallel to develop the knowledge of the course, you can use these resources here in case you don't use 3D Studio Max, okay? By using 3D Studio Max is one of the ways to do it, as we are already modeling this. So you can model thinking about Unreal Engine, but in case you received the project from another artist and these concepts weren't think like when it was being building, you can adapt this inside Unreal Engine, okay? So I'm gonna close this class here and we're gonna keep going with our course. See you, bye.